Hello, welcome to Pastor Jerome TV. I'm your host. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. Uh, so, the NFL has another former player who is going to prison for life, and his name is Kellen Winslow Jr. Kellen Winslow Jr. is the son of Kellen Winslow, who was a Pro Bowl tight end in the NFL for years. I mean, Kellen Winslow Sr., you throw the ball to him, just get him the ball. He's going to get you the first down. He was one of those clutch tight ends. Kellen Winslow Jr. was all everything at the University of Miami. Very talented, 6'4", about 230 pounds, ran the 40 in like 4.48, 4.5 area. That's talent. For somebody that tall and running that fast was phenomenal. Good athlete. But sometimes, you have people that have mental disorders, whether they are physical, physically mental disorders, sexual disorders. There's all types of disorders. And apparently, Kellen Winslow had a sexual disorder the way he desired to overpower elderly women who were homeless. And sometimes people have reasons for why they select certain victims like that. So he probably felt like mentally that these women were old, they were weak, and then they were homeless, which means that they didn't have much access to legal access to represent themselves, and probably that they wouldn't matter. It wouldn't even matter. And so sometimes you never know just from looking at a person's physical, looking at them in a physical way and how they present themselves. You never know that they have some type of mental disorder. And Kellen Winslow presented himself, fine. And sometimes a person's success and achievements could mask or cover up for some of these mental disabilities. And but I remember a story some time ago. This Kellen Winslow's father divorced the mom, and sometimes these mental disorders develop when you're young, and then it gets worse as you get older. And sometimes the sins of the father can visit upon the sons and daughters. But Kellen Winslow's dad divorced the mom and had a kid out of wedlock, and that probably caused a lot of problems in the house. They probably heard and seen a lot of stuff. But he grew up warped. He was recently convicted to life in prison for transit women, raping transit women. And this is not an allegation. This has been proven through court, and they've gone through trials and proved that this was the case. I just saw this morning, which is why I decided to do this video, that the judge declared a mistrial on one of the rape cases, but not throughout the whole thing. Kellen Winslow Jr. is going to prison for life for raping women. And some people blame the NFL for, not letting players know their vulnerability to CTE. Remember when Will Smith came out with that movie on concussions, and that mental disorder became very popular. And, most of us former NFL players are involved in a lawsuit for the concussion syndrome. But that has nothing to do with this. I believe that this mental disorder developed when he was very young. And a lot of times you don't know a person is going through these type of disorders unless you've seen them around in certain situations, when they're angry, when they're upset, or when something triggers them. You'll see a change, a different person come out once this person with the mental disorder is triggered. There was a situation when Kellen Winslow Jr. was with the Cleveland Browns, and it was after a game. It was a game for them to go into the playoffs, and Kellen Winslow got on the camera and called himself an MFing soldier. And it was overboard. It was way overboard because football is not military. And at the time, we had people going over to Afghanistan. We were in a war and soldiers were dying, and that really offset a lot of people and upset a lot of people here in America. Well, he went way overboard, saying that he was this soldier, and all he is just a football player and an entertainer. So, but anyway, people have these disorders, and it's best not to link your life up with somebody just because they're successful, they dress well, and a lot of times these could just be covers. Make sure that you do research on people. The NFL need to do a little bit more research, because sometimes people can be on medication, and when they get around people, they can function well as long as they're on medication. But most mental people with mental disorders, they feel fine and they feel good, and they lapse on their medication, and then all of a sudden, you see the Heckle and Mr. Hyde come out. So, but I played ball with a player named Anthony Smith. He was a defensive end out of the University of Arizona down the street, 2 hours away from here. I played at ASU. He went to the Raiders, and he was like 4 years before me. I ended up going to the Raiders, and everybody knew that I was a devout Christian. I was a minister. And so he confided in me. He was married to a woman named Vanity. She used to travel with Prince. She recently died as well. Well, anyway, she gave her life to the Lord, got into the church, and her pastor was manipulating her, and he kept asking me questions as to what he should do about this pastor manipulating his wife. And I said, you got to deal with your wife. I mean, so much for the pastor. You can't do nothing to the pastor, but you need to talk to your wife and show her scriptures and stuff where a wife is supposed to submit to her husband and not to the pastor. Yeah, but anyway, I had no idea that Anthony Smith was this murderer. He too was recently convicted to life in prison for several murders. He and a couple more guys, and this, I don't think it has anything to do with football. I think it has something to do with people having mental derangements and mental disorders. And so I work in this field. I work in the mental field. And a person can appear very normal until they're triggered. And then you see something else come out of them. They can't help it. It's just a mental disorder. But anyway, I'd like to hear from you on this. Love to hear your thoughts on this. And Kellen Winslow apparently has a sexual disorder. He has a sexual disorder. Think about it. He's a big, not bad looking guy, 6'4". His father was successful. He's successful. I think he's worth like $16 million. You don't think the young women was after him? There are times we get off a plane into another city, and the women are just lined up, and you could just make your choice. You just make a selection. You mean to tell me that Kellen Winslow Jr. couldn't get a nice looking woman from any racial background? He could have, and he probably did. But he had a fetish for raping, overpowering, and raping older women who were homeless. That's how he got off. That was a sexual fetish. People call them a fetish, but in many cases, they're disorders. A pedophile has a disorder. A transsexual has a disorder for wanting to cross-dress. That's a disorder. I don't care what people have to say about that. Being attracted to the same sex, that's a sexual disorder. Okay? It's a dysfunction. And so Kellen Winslow had this fetish or this disorder for raping older women and who were homeless. There was one situation where he took a homeless woman, picked her up and pretended to want to help her and take her where she wanted to go, took her in an alley and raped her. That was one of the cases that he was convicted of. But anyway, do your research on people. Before you hook up with somebody into a relationship, make sure that you do some research on them. Before you even go to the next level of just really serious dating, people are killers. People are sick nowadays. People are giving into all types of ideologies, ideas, spiritism, all types of research, all types of drugs. And these drugs can add to psychosis. Drugs, I'm talking about street drugs, can add to psychosis. They can add to mental disorders. It's a part of your brain can get fried and burnt out and it's dead, and the person no longer functions the same mentally. I've had friends like that, growing up with friends like that, who played football with me, and we won a state championship in high school, very athletic and in great shape and all of that, took some street drugs and was never the same mentally. So avoid drugs and then do your research. I'm Pastor Jerome, looking forward to your comments. Thank you.